The BCCI has stunned everyone today by naming a selection panel that has barely any experience to pick the teams for Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni. Is the new selection panel good enough? That's what we're discussing the next half hour. Call us on that number on your screens now to be heard. Welcome everyone, you're watching India Today. I'm Shivani Gupta. The BCCI naming a 5-member selection panel earlier today in their AGM, and it has created more questions than answers. They named a selection committee which will be headed by former India wicketkeeper-batsman MSK Prasad, Gagan Khora, Dibang Gandhi, Jatin Paranjpe, Sarandeep Singh are the other 4 members in this senior selection committee. Prasad and Khora were already there. They will continue, while the other 3 are new members appointed. Remember, Lodha panel had asked BCCI to abolish the practice of 5 selectors and from now on only appoint 3. But the BCCI, as in all other cases, has defied and ignored their reform push. But the big question is, are these 5 wise men capable of choosing a team for MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli? Take a look at their experience. New chief selector MSK Prasad is the most experienced of the lot, having played 6 tests and 17 ODIs. Dibang Gandhi was a right-handed batsman, having played 4 tests and 3 ODIs for India. Dibang announced his retirement in 2006 after not being able to find a place in the team. Batsman Jatin Paranjpe featured in just 4 matches for India. Paranjpe made his name through his outstanding Ranji campaign in 1997 and 98. Off-break bowler Sarandeep Singh managed to play just 3 tests and 5 ODIs for India. His last international appearance came against South Africa in 2003. Finally, Gagan Khora played just 2 international ODIs for India. He does have a pretty good domestic record, but the big question is, just why are these men the international team's selectors? I have sports editor Vikrant Gupta with me in the studio. Vikrant, would it be fair to say that this is the most inexperienced selection panel we've had in living memory?
It is 13 test matches and 31 ODIs, Shivani.
Yeah.
And the ODI count is low, not just because these guys played in the 70s or the 60s when there were no ODIs. They played in recent years.
Yeah.
MSK Prasad, 6 test matches, the chairman. They've been people who headed the selection panel who played lesser test matches. Raj Singh Dungarpur was the chairman selection committee. He hadn't played a test match, but he's a man of stature. I mean, I'm not trying to demean any of the selectors, but I think it was very immature of the BCCI to name these 5 as the selectors.
Right.
And as the going says, I remember Mohindra Manath once famously said that the selection panel is a bunch of jokers. I don't know what is the name that you'd reserve for these guys.
Absolutely. We have our first caller on the show. Victor is joining in from Chennai. Victor, what do you think about this new selection panel?
Yeah, good afternoon, Shivani. Good afternoon, Vikrant as well. See, I feel it is totally bizarre and absurd, for the simple reason that you are selecting a national team, and you, as Vikrant clearly put, you have 13 test matches in store. And look at the people who are selecting the team. The guys have hardly played any test matches. As rightly pointed out, the earlier selection committee, at least you had Sandeep Patil at the helm of it. He had a beautiful knock in Australia of 174. So I think it is totally absurd. And it's a very wrong decision. What BCCI I think we should end the zonal system of selection. Get the best man for the job.
Victor, thanks a lot for joining us. Our consulting editor Boria Majumdar is also joining with us. Boria, how should we take this news? I mean, it's almost laughable, as our viewers and Vikrant are saying. I mean, what are we to make of this selection panel? Are Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni going to be the selectors really de facto, or are these men just for show?
Yeah, clearly that is what is happening, Shivani. I mean, MSK Prasad sitting in judgment of MS Dhoni or will decide on MS Dhoni's future. It's absurd. And 13 test matches between these 5 people. I hope they do a good job. Clearly there are 2 reasons behind this. Is a joke. I mean, let's first put it, this is a joke. Secondly, why? Because clearly the best candidates did not apply, hoping or fearing that this will be a violation of the Supreme Court order, which it is. So the BCCI should not have gone ahead. I mean, they should have waited till the 30th and then perhaps taken a call, because these guys, now appointed, will be in judgment of the Indian team for the 2019 World Cup. Absolutely absurd. I mean, I really hope for once the Supreme Court sets this aside ASAP on 26th because the Lodha committee is meeting and says this is illegal, you cannot do this, and appoints a new selection committee, because this as a serious selection committee for me is unacceptable.
Yeah, Borya, I'm going to come to the point of just how long the selection committee is going to last. But Vikrant, the interesting point that Borya mentions, we've been talking about, the end of MS Dhoni's career for a time now. Is this really the selection panel that's going to take the call of making Virat Kohli the new ODI captain?
Borya said it's a joke. It is actually a joke. I mean, not just Dhoni. What happens to Harbhajan Singh? Does Yuvraj Singh come back ever? What happens to other players? I mean, it's not about Dhoni or any other player, Shivani. You cannot hand the Indian cricket team to these guys. I mean, they've been, as I said, selectors who've not played Test cricket, but they've done very well in first-class cricket. Vikram Rathore, for example, he played just 6 Test matches. Sabha Karim played just 1 Test match, but they were men of stature. People knew them. They knew what the domestic structure was. They could take decisions, and they took decisions. I mean, these guys cannot. And as Borya said, I would preempt a situation where the team management will become
paramount.
Yes, and they'll take the calls. Anil Kumble, Virat Kohli sitting on one side of the table without any vote, and these 5 men on the other side with votes.
Then what's the point of having
who will take the call? These men will not. It will be the captain and the coach who will decide. And at times it's a good thing. At times it is not needed at all. Because the selectors are the ones who have to show your vision. If their vision matches with the team manager, fine. If it doesn't, then you have to take a call.
No, there's a reason why the selection committee exists, isn't it? Because you cannot have only the captain and the coach taking all decisions. It almost becomes a conflict of interest as well. Selectors are there to, take the vision forward. I have another caller before we go on. Zia is calling in from Srinagar. Go ahead. If you can hear me, Zia, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
It's not the fairness with BCCI. Hello?
Okay, we're going to try and sort out that audio line from Zia. But, the question that I wanted to take forward with Borya as well. Borya, just to play the devil's advocate, as Vikrant was also mentioning, you don't always have to play a lot of test matches or a lot of cricket to be a good coach. We've seen that's not always true. Is it also, can that also be true for a selector, that you don't always have to play a lot of cricket, just to be the devil's advocate here?
Yeah, but you've got to be a man of stature. The word Vikrant used is perhaps the right one. And then if you then look at your selection committee behind the predecessor or the one before that, Shivani, the chief selector or the chairman of selectors, Krishnamacharya Shrikant, Sandeep Patil, Dilip Vengsarkar, X and Y. I mean, look, Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Anil Kumble says, I want X. You mean to say MSK Prasad and this lot will say no? And you said, why the captain and coach? Captain and coach will be on tour. They will not see domestic cricket. They can't see domestic cricket. It's not possible for them to go and watch each and every domestic match. If there's a conflict, their views will prevail. What is the point of having a selection committee? Then they're paid. I mean, this clearly is because of the fact that people did not apply, getting scared. Then why go ahead? Why make yourself into a laughing stock in front of the world? This whole thing, cumulative experience of 13 test matches or 31 ODIs if I am right, just doesn't cut the ice. I mean, yes, Sabha Karim, all of us grew up watching Sabha Karim play for Bengal. MSK Prasad, come on. I mean, as chairman of selectors, doesn't cut the ice with me at all. However good he may be, then I can tell you a management consultant who watches, or me who has watched cricket for 25 years, Vikrant Gupta, you have watched cricket for 25 years, make me the chairman of selectors, no big deal. I mean, obviously I'm not qualified enough or I'm not good enough. That is why you have a reputed player or somebody who is a man of stature dealing with these matters. That's not been the case.
And Shivani, also, you're going to fight the Lodha panel.
Yeah.
You're going to fight their recommendations. You're going to court. You having a tussle. At least have a good panel. You can go to the Lodha panel and tell them, look, this is what we've done. Tomorrow, the Lodha panel is going to make you a laughing stock. Yeah. They would say, these are the selectors that you have in the entire country. I mean, rather than benefiting from their move, I feel that they stand to lose out more than what I think they want to win.
Nishad is online with us from Kolkata. Before I go to our correspondent, Rasesh Mandani, who's been tracking the developments in Mumbai. Nishad, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to know that where are the great players? Like there were VVS Lakshman and then there are Zaheer Khan and all those great players, and you have decided a team of 13 test experience to judge the future of Indian cricket team. is this like these are like RSS people like who Anurag has appointed for their BCCI also, just like they have taken over FTII and every other independent body? I just wanted to know that have they taken over BCCI as well or what?
Where are the big players, Vikrant?
It's a
That's
fair
the
point,
question.
Shivani. I think we need to understand the financial aspect as well. The selectors get paid. I don't know the exact figure. I suppose the chairman gets about 75 lakh rupees a year and the selectors get about 60 lakh. Compare it to the commentary stints that they have. A Lakshman or a Dravid or a Saurav Ganguly, when you get them as a coach, like you did with Ravi Shastri and Anil Kumble, so you're giving them 7 crore rupees as the coach. So raise the money. Give the chairman selection committee 3 crore rupees a year. The board can afford to do that. Then a VVS Lakshman can also become the chairman.
So
of
is it
selection.
about money that big
it is
players
about
don't want to
money.
be
It is
selectors?
indeed about money. The legends will not become selectors.
But
the
why
legend,
not? Isn't there a stature involved in being selected? You're part of the vision for the,
Shivani,
for the Indian
depends.
cricket?
It depends because Sandeep Patil said the last day of his stint that you make more enemies than you make friends, and he was somebody who took big decisions. You know, he was the one who presided over Sachin Tendulkar's retirement. I mean, in his era, Sehwags and the Yuvraj and the Harbhajan Singhs, the Gautam Gambhirs, he took decision on everybody. And whatever that you might think, I may be in favor of having an X player or a Y player. I think in the end, the team had been winning without those players. The selector has to take the decision, but it also depends on if the BCCI is interfering. I mean, this selection panel, clearly, Shivani, we know, as Boria said, you said, these guys are not going to take any decision.
Rubber stamps?
Yes, indeed. There will be. I don't know, the rubber stamps for the BCCI or for the team management, but these guys will be rubber stamps, mere rubber stamps.
Let me go across to Rasesh Mandani. Rasesh, interestingly, for the benefit of our viewers, let me also say that, the entire process of appointing the selection panel was changed this time. Exactly what went on behind the scenes? What were the interviews like that they were conducting? They asked for selection, they asked for, people to apply for the job of the selectors, and not many big names did.
And it's not surprising, Shivani. Vikrant makes a point about payments. It's a very valid point. When 60 to 70 lakh rupees are being offered, you would not expect a VVS Lakshman to apply for the post, or you would not have the likes of Ravi Shastri or the Sunil Gavaskars of the world queuing up to be the chairman of selectors. So that's one point. And the other part is the BCCI tried to project a transparent image by putting out a public advertisement. But some of their criteria itself were going to end up in this fashion. When you're going to put up a 60-year-old age cap, that itself disqualifies a number of people. It's a fair point to say that the selectors need to be young and need to have seen a little bit of one-day cricket. But then the quality of cricketers will suffer, because of late you will not have cricketers of that stature. So, I think the entire exercise was more of a public posturing exercise to say that, this is going to be a transparent process. But eventually the interviews were conducted by that BCCI top brass itself. And these are, they may say these are not zonal representation, has not been taken into account. But remember, each of the selector also comes from different zones. So I think nothing much has changed. If anything, the stature of the selection committee has come down.
Oh, absolutely. And remember, the Lodha panel had said that there should be only 3 selectors from now on. We can all debate whether that's right, wrong, but that's their order. And again, BCCI has gone on and defied that by putting in a 5-member committee once again. Fine is calling us from Jammu. Go ahead.
Fortunate on part of the Indian cricket team, especially when our team is doing so well that we have got more unexperienced selectors. I think this selection looks like a pure political selection rather than seeing the credentials of the selectors. And right now the team is doing so good. The base of the cricket team should have been more stronger. I think what right now has been done, the most unexperienced selectors have been introduced in the team. That could really affect the performance of the team, and especially when our team is in the top of the rankings.
Right. Fine. Thanks a lot for joining us. Boria, I wanted to ask you, at the core of this, is this just posturing, as Rasesh also mentioned? The life of this selection panel doesn't seem very long. So is it a sacrificial selection panel, which the BCCI knows is not really going to be making a lot of key decisions over the next year or so? Is it really just posturing?
I mean, if it's posturing, then it's the most idiotic posturing of all. Then you don't do it. I mean, you obey the orders of the Lodha committee. The example being given, Shivani, here is, and I'll answer the question with this example. Venkatesh Prasad, chairman of Junior Selection Committee, MSK Prasad, chairman of Senior Selection Committee. Now, that's the biggest joke of all. Why? Because apparently MSK Prasad is senior. That's why he can't be, and Venkatesh Prasad has to be under him or whatever the junior selection. And every rule is being changed. You have yourself changed the rule from 5 to 3 according to the Lodha panel. Zonal representation is gone. So why can't you change this rule? Of course you can. Every rule is being changed. So this rule, which preempts Venkatesh Prasad from taking over, should also be changed. At least he's a man of stature. At least people will say, okay, this guy has had experience of the highest level, NCA, every other experience behind him. I mean, if it is posturing, I would imagine somebody is advising them wrongly, because this whole posturing will boomerang on their face when the Lodha committee meets on Monday and recommends to the Supreme Court that these people are not playing ball.
I will go to Vikrant about just who's advising Anurag Thakur. Vikrant, hold on for that. But Chetan Chauhan is joining us, eminent cricketer, former team manager. Sir, what do you have to say about this selection panel? Would you want to be a selector in today's time?
Well, see, everything depends on the situation, but one thing is for sure, just to get credibility, it's a question of credibility. I'm not talking about selection, I'm talking about credibility. To have the credibility of the selection committee, you've got to have people who have played not less than 20 test matches, or say about 50 or 60 one-day internationals. It's a question of message. What is the kind of message which is going on? And as I said, whatever they select, whoever they select, then it should be authentic. Not only should be authentic, but it should be, people should be experts. The experts cannot be, I don't want to run anybody down. Please let wrong message go to anybody. But one thing is for sure, people who have played, say, 5 one-day international, or say 1 test match, and a person who has played more than 20 test matches, the whole thing is different. People may argue whatever, you see, but this is what is my opinion. You've got to have people. And again, coming back to this age thing, why have you put this age at 60? I really don't know why. If the Lodha is saying
they're not accepting age cap on themselves, really, which is 70, but they want age cap on selectors.
Why 60? You have deliberately kept people like, say, Dilip Vengsarkar out. You kept people like Dilip Vengsarkar, or
and
maybe somebody else.
You have 2 years to go.
I have
in terms of the 4 years, you still have 2 years.
I don't know. Let me not talk about myself. I'm talking generally. Why have you put the 60? See, because you have to be man of substance. You have to be man of who have played enough. A man of stature.
And surely they can find some men who are below 60 also who are men of stature.
Also, so far, there have been controversies.
If you can elaborate on the Anurag Thakur, I mean, what is going on with this man's head?
Only he knows, or his council would. Ajay Shirke, Anurag Thakur, they are the ones who are taking the decisions. In fact, we all know, if the Lodha panel recommendations are enforced, then both lose their jobs within the BCCI and in the state as well. So maybe it's a last-ditch effort by them.
But this kind of effort?
It can be, because they've got nothing to lose personally. Collectively, yes, it's the BCCI, but personally...
So are they being myopic and actually really only thinking about themselves and not about the future of Indian cricket?
Or there's something that we don't know. Or there's something that we don't know. As I said, Shivani, there have been controversies, bigger controversies in Indian cricket. But this probably is the first time that the game in itself has been hit.
All right. Let me take a quick caller before we slip into a break. Rashid is calling us from Kolkata. Rashid, go ahead. We have callers joining in. Ramdas is joining us from Bangalore. Go ahead.
Yeah, Shivani and everybody else, good afternoon. I have a weird take on this. This is BCCI's way of paying tribute to the festival that just happened, Eid Mubarak. These guys are just sacrificial lambs, because BCCI knows full well that the Supreme Court is going to strike them down. It's just an ego issue. Dekho, humne kar diya.
Right.
They're showing the finger to the Supreme Court, knowing full well that they're going to lose. These 5 guys are just sacrificial lambs. Eid Mubarak, everybody.
Right. All right. Anand is joining us from Hyderabad. Go ahead.
Shivani, as Boria Majumdar has really nailed Anurag Thakur's head, calling it as one of the biggest jokes ever in BCCI. And tomorrow we are going to start a 500 test match in India. And see the selectors put together 13 test matches. What is wrong with this Anurag Thakur? I don't understand. He has to wake up. He is on a long sleep. For God's sake, save Indian cricket and BCCI.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Anand. Okay, final comments now. Bora, I'll take final comments from you. You know, the backlash and just the kind of reactions we're getting. You heard all viewers. Cricket being such a big religion in our country, surely the BCCI is not going to live this down.
You know, Shivani, the biggest problem for the BCCI, the biggest crisis for the BCCI as far as I'm concerned is one of credibility, and that credibility has been lost further. So in closure, that's all I will say, and I will say this strengthens the Lodha committee's hand, who will obviously sort of strike these people down. And also to these people, each one of us are responsible citizens. The Supreme Court committee had said, do not apply, it's illegal. What prompted them to apply? They are not being spoon-fed by anyone. They should have read that order and should have stayed away as well.
Vikrant, what happens from here on, given the entire Lodha panel picture as well?
This is not the last. We would all agree this is not the last. They have the Lodha panel has a meeting on the 26th. Obviously, they will go through the BCCI's meeting today, and they'll list out the points.
The issues that they have.
The issues that they'll have. Then the board has a meeting on the 30th, which is an SGM. Which is a special general meeting, which again, as I said, I've just got the email. I mean, the wording is superb. I mean, I don't know whosoever drafts it. They say the meeting will consider the amendments of the rules and regulations of BCCI as recommended by the Honorable Justice Lodha Committee. On the one hand, you're writing something and you're doing something else.
But what is there to discuss? The order is very clear. What are we doing discussing?
And you're not adhering to that.
Yeah, you're not following it.
Then you have a meeting and then another meeting.
Yeah. I think that says enough. Chetanji, are you disappointed today as a former cricketer of such repute that, you know, leave all the politics aside, but at least as far as the cricket is concerned, don't make it suffer, isn't it?
See, I will not say, I'm not disappointed. All that I would say, the BCCI, I would suggest to the BCCI, don't have, you know, this confrontationist attitude towards the Lodha. It is not going to do it. We could have easily waited another 5 days. You know, if Lodha committee was to meet on the 26th, we could have easily waited. Why have the AGM, you know, on the 21st? See, we could have easily. See, as a cricketer, a former cricketer, a person who is really genuinely interested in cricket and seeing the game rise further, you see, and it goes to the and reaches the highest standard. We are doing well in cricket. I would not want anything to affect this, you know, the game of cricket.
Rasesh is still with us. Rasesh, by taking all of these decisions in the AGM today, they also appointed Ajay Shirke unopposed as secretary. Committees formed, which again is against Lodha order. BCCI is going to be in contempt of court, and they're doing this brazenly. They're brazening it out. They want confrontation. What does the BCCI have to say about the road ahead, the contempt of court that is easily going to be slapped on them?
Well, they are inviting trouble, Shivani. Remember N. Srinivasan? Nothing has changed. So, you know, the BCCI continues to function in that fashion. And the irony of the whole situation is, while we here talk and sit and discuss about whether the selection committee has the stature of it, the clout that it enjoys, the decision-making powers that it has taken a beating, it could very well be no-balled very soon by the Supreme Court itself.
Right. Rasesh Mandani, Vikrant Gupta, Boria Majumdar, Chetan Chauhanji, thanks a lot for joining us, and all our viewers who tuned in and also made their voices heard. This is obviously going to be a big battle up ahead, BCCI versus Lodha panel. Thanks a lot for watching. Goodbye.